Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Darf Talks. I am your host, Mike Winnick, and this week we're going to be joined by the illustrious. Oh, I gotta fix this camera first. By the illustrious. There we go. Dapr Michael Dapr Gulino. Thanks for joining us on the show.
No problem.
And yeah, happy to have you. He made time out of his busy schedule. Actually, carved out a chunk, and we threw together an interview for him. So, thank you so much for joining us, Dapr. Let's get right into it. For anyone who's not familiar with him, Mike Dapr Gulino is a up and coming player on the serious rise. I don't know if you're up and coming anymore. If you're now on the coming part, I'm never gonna say that sentence again. He's a player for E United. His teammates are Dazzle, Relics, Ace, Moose, as well as their coach, Oso, who have been on a serious hot streak lately. Made some serious achievements, made some big jumps up in competition. How are you feeling, Dapper?
It feels amazing to make we beat tier 1 teams like Liquid, who just went to the finals of, what was that, EPL?
Yeah.
So to beat teams like that, even though it was like online, and that like it doesn't carry a lot of weight in like the tier 1 scene, but like it's just like confidence, you know? So I think it helps a lot to our growth, all of that.
So, I'm getting some comments that you're a little quiet, so we're going to hop over to one cam for a hot sec while I fix your audio levels. That's just on my end. Alright. Give me the magic audio powers. I don't actually know how to do this on this end. Alright, whatever. We'll sort it out in...
I'll just move it close to my mouth or something.
Nah, you're fine there. You're fine there. We're going to transition back to dual cam. Minor technical difficulty, folks. But let me just lower my own volume in contrast. And there we go. So, you've you beat Liquid. You guys have been making an enormous run. We're just gonna sort of go over a little bit of what's been happening. Now, you came over at the beginning of this season, at this ESEA season, and more generally this sort of CS season, after the last Mountain Dew League LAN with, you were playing with Torqued slash, they were Torqued at that time, or they were GX still at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the name brand change came in. So things didn't really end well with the previous roster. We're not going to dig in it too deeply, but what's your mentality like at the time? It's sort of being removed from a roster in not the happiest of fashions.
It hurt my confidence a lot in the fact that, well, to say I didn't join. It's not like I got cut from GX or Torx, whichever, and then I instantly joined E United. It was like there was a span that I didn't have a team, and then I didn't play. So I actually went back to school. I went to college for like a semester.
Really?
So I was doing that because it hurt my confidence that much. Like I was like, I'll just take a break or something from CS. I didn't care that much. I was gonna play MDL with Ghost Academy, which wasn't a bad team. Like on paper, the lineup was me, GMD, who's Rogue, who's on Rogue now, and Odorous, Douglas, and Maka. So that's like a decent team. But I wasn't gonna go like full-time CS like I was with GX, now with the United. So it hurt my confidence that much. And then halfway, I don't know exactly, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but Dazzle, who's my friend for a while, who's on Unite obviously, he approached me to join, so that's how it happened.
So Dazzle was the connection, the initial connection that brought you in?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's that process like? Is it sort of, you knew they were looking for somebody, he reached out to you, you guys, did you trial at all, or was it just an immediate, like, you're what we want?
No, there's a trial. I ringed for them. I forget exactly what it was. It was like a qualifier, and then like SIVO or something. They didn't have 5, so I like rang for them. But I think it was kind of like straight up, like it was just like trial. Like that, I knew that was a trial, and I wasn't like I'm on the team. They also tried out like 3 other players, and yeah. So I was just trying with them, and then it ended up with me and Skylar when VSA left the team.
Was there sort of a moment when you're doing that trial where you're like, okay, this works? Like, what we're doing here, this works, this feels good, and you're sort of like, I feel like I'm getting this?
Yeah, like I liked Rise as a team. I feel like they play Rise at the time. That's when I joined. I feel like they played like good Counter-Strike. They didn't do like just dumb stuff. Like they actually tried to play Team CS, and I feel
Hmm.
like I could grow a lot in that team. So I was really happy when they picked me up.
So that experience of coming into an established team, because like you said, they were very much an established team. They had
They
accolades.
have
They
a
were heavy favorites to begin with going into MDL, and then making that kind of a change and immediately bringing both you and Skylar in, and that's changing. He was IGLing, right? That was the change
yeah,
in
he's out of
leadership.
jail still. Yeah.
So what is that like coming into an established team? Is it Are you mostly making the adaptation? Is the whole team sort of shifting around to suit the new players or to integrate the new players? What does that feel like?
I feel like we all changed. Like we don't do a lot of the old Rise stuff.
Mm.
Maybe like very little like communication things that stick around. But I think when you change the leadership, it doesn't matter if like the core is the same. I think like the whole just atmosphere and the whole vibe and how we want to approach the game, like the philosophy and theory, is just completely changed.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not the one to speak about it. It would be a better question for like one of the people who play with the old roster. But I think we probably changed a lot from the old Rise to Unite now.
Okay, so sort of finding that balance. It's not quite like a plug and play. You're not just slotting in, and they're not just completely changing to suit it. It's all about finding a balance.
Hmm.
Even though there was that existing core and structure, is it almost just like a completely new team in the way that balance is found?
I'd say so. I'd
Okay.
say so.
And so then the other big change that happened early on, obviously, I mean, you touched on this when you talked about Rise and you were ringing for Rise, and then the whole squad gets picked up by United.
Hmm.
There's the player transfers, and then you guys get brought on. You and Skylar, since you're both free agents, get brought straight on. Um, what kind of a difference does having that kind of a pickup mean for you as a team?
It's huge to have uh someone like support you in the way that Unite supports us. Like they
Mm.
support us. Obviously, we have like a salary and stuff. But they also have like the management is like really passionate, and I feel like they really want us to go far. And they obviously to do that, we need some kind of tools, and they supply anything we need. I feel like we're really taken care of, and it helps a lot to have that. It's like a backbone.
So it was that when you made that. So you said you were in doing a semester of college, right? Because you would
Uh-huh.
sort of were questioning your dedication to CS or whether this was the season where you were going to go full hard. Uh, did you make the decision to fully commit to CS in the wake of being just part of that team, or was it the pickup by United, or what was the point where you're like, okay, I'm back in this, back in
I
full commit?
think I think it was when we made ECS,
Mm.
because it happened pretty much at the same exact time. We
Yeah.
talked to United right before the qualifiers, and then right after we qualified for ECS, they announced the pickup. I think it was like the day before we played the final match of the ECS qualifier, we like signed the contract. So I think like that day is when I was like, yeah, I want to do this. I
And was
want to
it
go back full time.
that was when you decided to go full time to drop? Did
Yeah.
you drop the semester? Did you finish the semester and
I
then?
dropped the semester because it was like I had a month left, and we
Mm-hmm.
had to do the MDL land was like right before finals in the schedule, so I had to quit.
Okay. So that kind of a transition, I mean, is that a tough call to make, to sort of put one side of potential futures on hold to pursue this dream of playing CS?
I'm sorry, what do you say? Is it a risk?
Is it just a hard call to make for you personally? I don't know, family or any of that kind of thing. What's
I think jumping in to anything, it doesn't even have to be CS, just like
mm,
anything that like you're passionate about. It could even be like casting CS. It could be anything. Uh, there's definitely you could have some doubts, like maybe your family would doubt it because like it's hard to explain and like maybe they don't understand it. But I have a very supporting family, thank God.
mm,
It was definitely a hard call to make, but I'm happy that I made it now in the future.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems to have paid off pretty well.
Yeah.
So talking about that, I mean, we talked about a little bit about that you guys signed your contracts and then immediately qualified for ECS and then got announced. I think I talked to Dazzle a little bit about that back in Chicago, but that just sort of all became a whirlwind weekend for you guys.
Yeah.
Um, hitting that line of qualifying for ECS, of qualifying for one of the professional leagues, of hitting that tier of competition, was that like the immediate validation? I mean, you said that was where you made the decision to fully commit, but it's just the immediate validation that it's like, okay, this was a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say so. Cause like guaranteed, like everything just like steps up. Like it's not even just that we play pro teams and like I forget how many matches, like 18 matches, I think, like 19.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's not just those 19 match or 18 matches that you play against pro teams. It's also like your practice gets bumped up. Like pro teams want to play you because you're in their league and like you play more and you want to improve. Like everybody wants to improve. They're motivated. Like everything just changes when you make that. So definitely happy.
Is there like a new level of respect? Because I know you guys 2-0'd Liquid, you traded with SK, you 2-0'd Optic. Those are like the sort of big statement matches that immediately spring to mind. But you said the level of practice comes up because you're now playing and practicing and scrimming against pro teams. Does that bring a new level of respect to the way these teams play you?
I think they all play their game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like we're like heavily respected. Like I don't think they play us the same way they play Liquid per se.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I think we could definitely like we could go toe to toe with anybody. At least like we haven't been to a land, this DreamHack Austin that we're going to in the next week now. It's gonna be like a big, like I guess like it'll show like where we stand.
Mm-hmm.
But right now online we could definitely go toe to toe with any team. I mean we showed it.
Yeah, you absolutely did. So you wound up finishing sixth ultimately in the ECS season. That's a nice middle of the pack. You guys aren't worried about dropping out of the league. You're I mean that's pretty phenomenal for your first season, not just in this league but in any league at that caliber of competition.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel for the team having achieved that, having secured that placing?
It like the only reason it doesn't feel as good as it like as you said it's a big accomplishment for a new team,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't sit that great with us because of how it happened. Like we're right on playoff potential, like contention, and
Mm-hmm.
then we had to play our last two matches that were like the decider from the UK because of scheduling issues.
Mm.
So and we didn't make it because we lost because we had like 100 ping, but and that's the only reason that like we aren't ecstatic because like we knew we were that close, like just an inch, and we would have made it to the finals.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely like I'm still happy about it. Like I could say like I'm happy about the
That has to
place.
feel fantastic too, knowing that you were so close and the thing that limited you was not really something you could control.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah.
having that kind of knowledge. And so another thing I want to touch on with the ECS, you played a lot of the matches, especially the statement matches. I think it was both the SK and the Liquid matches. Were those both played from the boot camp?
The
One of
SK
them
and
was.
Liquid, yes, yes, yes. They all were, and Optic was as well.
So
The
those
only
were
one that the
nope,
only one that we didn't play from the boot camp that was like an upset was the Cloud9, which we won.
trading
We
maps with
beat them.
Cloud9s.
Yeah, we traded maps with Cloud9. That wasn't at the boot camp, but
Okay.
the rest were at the boot camp.
So that ability to have a boot camp, to be able to play with your team in person, even they're online matches, but you're all playing in a room, you're all playing together. How does that just elevate your level of play? How does that elevate the mood?
The atmosphere is just like you just vibe. Like when you're sitting next to each other, it's just like a huge advantage in the fact that like you could vibe off each other. Like if someone's like happy or like you won a huge round or something and like your
Hmm.
fist bump, like it just changed like everything. And then everybody's like super motivated. You're always playing together. Like I could look to my right and I could look at Dazzle's screen and like I'll know like I should space this far back. I know exactly what he's looking at. We're always on the same page. It's just like a huge like advantage, honestly.
And that's sort of, I mean, that's sort of something that has been enabled by having E United backing you guys, right? Like that
Of
extra
course.
jump up is letting you guys get to higher tiers in play and
Mhm.
in competition and in
It helps a
just team
lot.
chemistry. Um, I mean, it's been really exciting to watch from the outside, just this sort of ascension of the team. I mean, I was chatting with you guys back in Chicago when the team was still relatively new. You'd just been picked up by United. You just qualified for ECS.
Mhm.
You guys were playing in a mix. I mean, four of you were there on two teams, and
Mhm.
it was sort of, I don't know, it was interesting to watch you guys play and just like talk. And obviously you won the LAN, which is always nice.
Yeah.
But what's that attitude like? What's that like the difference in mentality going to a mix like that, where you're playing with some of your team, but you've also picked up a couple of ringers. One of your teammates is on another team. It's a much more casual atmosphere. How does
Yeah.
that contrast?
We were just for fun. Like it was just we just went at that weekend. Like it was kind of like the only set team
Hmm.
premier team I'm pretty sure was Ethereum, which
Hmm.
we played in the finals and we beat them. But the whole LAN was kind of just for fun. So it was yeah, it was just like a fun atmosphere. We were just fist bumping over dumb stuff. I don't know.
Were you? Is it almost like I don't know, in jobs sometimes you have like team building exercises and things like that where you do something different. Is it almost like a chemistry building thing to just sort of go out and have fun with your teammates?
Yeah, yeah. It's like you become friends. It's like more than you become friends outside the game in the local lands. You know,
Yeah.
you just like chill, and you get to like talk and just really go into their mind. I guess it helps.
Yeah. So getting into the meat of the season, MDL. I guess I'm gonna call that the meat. ECS is pretty meaty. I don't want to discount ECS. ECS was pretty awesome, but getting into MDL is sort of generally how I structure my brain about CS seasons. Um, you guys were a top team going into it. I mean, you'd been playing on GX last season, who were considered heavy hitters, top team going into it, who made playoffs. The core of this team was making playoffs. Relics was playing in Pro League last season, right? Or 2 seasons ago?
Maybe 2 seasons.
2 seasons
With
ago.
Misfits. I don't remember.
So he had played in Pro League. So you have this very star-studded lineup going into that. How does that shape your mentality going into the season, knowing the teams you're going to be matching up against, knowing the caliber of players that you are?
We're super confident. We knew like playoffs were kind of a lock. We were playing for seedings towards the end and like what seed we want, who we want to play. We ended up with first seed. But yeah, throughout the whole season, we're really confident. The hardest loss, I forget I think it was 13-3. Our record was. I don't even remember who we lost to. I know we lost to Torx because we got like destroyed. It was like a 16-5 or like something ridiculous. So that was the only team going into playoffs that we're actually like. We have like a triangle. Some people want to call it like a triangle where it's like Torx beat us, we beat Swole, and Swole beats Torx. So with that going into it, we just didn't want to play Torx in playoffs.
Okay.
Because that was the only team that like we feared like we think they could beat us, but we ended up not having either of those. We didn't play Swole or Torx, and Swole obviously beat Torx in the semis, and we breezed to the finals.
Yeah, you guys stacked up, and you were with Iceberg to go to LAN for the decider match to go to LAN,
yes.
right?
Yeah, in the semis.
Beat Iceberg, go into LAN, then head in. I mean, he said there's this triangle, and you wind up playing. Is Swole Patrol for the final, right?
Yes, yeah.
And now you guys in Swole Patrol between the end of online league and the run up to inland final, you played Swole Patrol like 6 times.
7, like so many, like 7 BO3s.
It was a lot of BO3s.
A ridiculous amount, and it kind of it annoyed us a lot. Like, I feel like you can't play your game, or like we should switch something up. But in the end, it worked out. We beat them anyway. But it was definitely like, it was super frustrating. And we could have played them one more time. We played Sivo after, but they wanted to play before. So we went another BO3 before we went to LAN and played them for the pro spot. So.
Are you almost using that as like kind of a scouting mission? Like all those BO3s? Because you said you feel like you can't play your full game. Like you don't want to reveal strats, or you don't want them to get such a feel for you. It's almost like a hand of poker, right? Like
yeah, you kind of want to hide like, yeah. Exactly.
You've got your stuff in reserve. They've got their stuff in reserve. You don't know what they're actually going to be bringing to the table, and that's got to be so strange. Does that?
It is.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Do you get a really good feel for a team playing them that often?
Yeah. I feel like we have Swole Patrol's number. Like they just changed up their roster, so maybe that'll change it up. But I think we played them like I said it. We played them like 6 or 7 times. And I think we only lost to them in 1 BO3, and that was like the first BO3 we played them. So I don't know. We just have the number. I don't know. It seems like kind of easy to play them. Like no, they're great players. I didn't mean it like that, but like I just feel like we have their number and everything they do.
Like you said, there's the triangle going on.
Yeah.
Now going into London for the LAN finals. Was this your first time competing overseas?
Yes. Yeah.
Now you did the global LAN in New York, which is an international LAN, but does it make?
Yeah, I live here, so I just took the train. It was like an hour away from my house. But this is the first time I actually traveled to go to an event, like, yeah, overseas.
How did that feel? How did that change, like, your feeling about the event?
I think it actually helped me in the fact, like, I was jet lagged a little. I think everybody was. But I think it got me into, like, the zone that's, like, I'm here for this and this alone. Where, like, last MDL, it's not an excuse. I know, like, whatever happened. But last MDL, it's, like, I took a train there, and like it didn't seem like I was fully into it, cause like it doesn't seem like an actual LAN. It just seems like somewhere like a local LAN or something. It doesn't seem like that big. when it's like in your backyard. But like when you travel 7 hours to go to London, you feel like you're really a part of it and shit. But
It's sort of like a big bookend, like full scene
yeah,
change. There's nothing else to distract you. It's just laser
yeah,
focus.
yeah. I think
So
it actually helped me to go out.
yeah, that's obviously the reaction you want to have happen. I'm assuming there's some players for whom that kind of change would make them nervous. Would step them off their game and be unfamiliar surroundings. But to take that kind of energy and funnel it, that's sort of the ideal result, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So, the moment where you win, you guys have been. I mean, the E United was Rise squad has been battling for this as a core for a little while. You've been battling for this in various rosters and lineups. What is that feeling when you finally achieve this thing you've been chasing for so long?
It's like a giant weight off your shoulders is like the best way I can explain it. It's just hard. It's a great feeling to win it like that. It really is.
I
It's
caught
like
I caught a little snapshot. Looks like you guys have a video coming out tomorrow. So
yeah,
shout out to the E United Twitter. There's gonna be a
shout
video
out,
coming
shout
out.
shit like it.
But the closing shot of their teaser, of their sizzle teaser, was just you guys celebrating immediately
Yeah,
after the
that was
victory.
that was right after we won, and that was following. To add a little more context to people who maybe didn't watch the game, but that was the third. So we beat Swole in the third map. It was overpass. We had like a sick lead. I don't remember exactly the scoring lines, but it was like a four. Like I think we even hit 15, and they had like 6 or something. Like something like we were destroying, and then they won like 7 rounds or something. It was a really close game at the end, and we were about to choke it, and then we finally won, and that was our reaction after like we almost choked a comeback, and then we finally closed it out. So just a little more context. It wasn't just like a straight win. It was
Yeah.
like we really fought for it, and it's like we deserved that win, and just great feeling.
So that moment where you've achieved like everything you've been chasing, you feel that weight lift from your shoulders. There's everything you've been thinking about, is all coming to pass. ECS, Pro League, that upper echelon's coming through. How do you after that just reset and think, okay, we still have a land to go through? Like, where's your mind space?
You do reset. You do reset a little bit, but like at the end, it's like the land was only for money, so we just kind of played it like, okay, let's just fuck it. Let's just do whatever we want. That's kind of our attitude towards the land. And it worked for us, I guess, to the semis. We got to the semis. We beat 2-0 in our group. We beat and then Torqued in a close game. But then we lost the semis. But like we weren't upset. We got semis and we got the land spot. We only went for the land spot or the pro spot. Sorry.
So I know you sort of brush off the two teams you beat, or the getting to semis in the global challenge. But I mean, the big one here is obviously, or the storyline one here obviously is Torqued. It's your old team. There was some. I know you responded to my Dapr revenge thing tweets saying that you don't bear any ill will to them, and I'm sure that that's true. But does it still feel good? Is there still like
Yes, of course it feels good.
a little bit of that revenge?
Yeah. But I don't feel it like it feels good just to win in general. But then to win against like an old team, it just like you got to respect me now type of thing. It's like we did it. I don't know. It definitely feels good though. But no hard feelings to any of them. I kind of moved on. I think moving on past what happened with Torqued and GX just like made me grow a lot. Not even just as a player, like as a CS player, like as a human. You just gotta move on from that shit.
Is that moment almost like showing off your hot new date to your ex?
Yeah, you're just flexing on your ex pretty much. Yeah.
Just flexing. It's a good move. So you guys get taken out by Spirit in the semis. What's that kind of feeling? Because I mean, Spirit is a top team in the CIS region. I mean, they've been competing in international lands. That's sort of the caliber of competition you guys are moving up against.
Yeah. No, they're a good team. We kind of took it with a grain of salt because we kind of messed up. We took a gamble. We never played Dust 2, and we never played Dust 2 going to the land because it was like a new map, and we thought it would just be a perma. And then we thought they had a really good overpass, which they do. And so we banned overpass, just gambling that they don't play Dust 2 either. And then they ended up picking it, so we just kind of like we gave a free map pretty much because they play Dust 2 and we don't. We just lost. But kudos, they won. I forget what the second map was. It was Cash, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's the better team. Honestly, we weren't that like stressed out about it. We wish we could have done better. Both games were kind of close. We could have had it. It could have went either way. But at the end we didn't win, and me personally, I didn't like read too much into it.
I mean, ultimately, you guys got what you came for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You snatched the trophy that you really wanted,
Hmm.
which is that Pro League slot. So what does that? I mean, what does that mean for a team, right? I mean, obviously it's huge. It's huge economic
Yeah.
opportunity. It's huge name recognition, huge everything. But what does that mean for you guys as a squad? What does that change bring about in the team?
It just brings like everybody like the motivation and like concentration towards everything. Like we have a six, I forget, I don't know exactly when Pro League starts, but it's in a while, at least 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So during those 3 months, we're just gonna be like grinding and grinding to show like everybody what we're capable of, and just be in both Pro Leagues is just like you get to show off exactly what you're what you worked for your whole career. Like I played for 3-4 years before this, and it's like I feel like it all led up to this, and now it's my time to show off like me and the team.
Speaking of showing off, we talked about this a little earlier. I think that may have actually been off cam, but you guys just made HLTV top 30.
Yeah,
That was like Monday, right?
yeah. It was like 2 days ago.
How big of a mark of a line in the sand is that to like crest that number?
It's a really good feeling to hit the top 30. I forget, it was either a week or 2 weeks ago where we looked and we're like 31, and we're right there, and it was like a 2 point difference, and we're just like, let's just get this top 30. Let's just get like right after we went from land, it's like, oh, we got top 30. Like it was just like a goal. It was like a mini goal for everybody, I think, for all the upcoming teams to hit top 30. It's just like a feel good moment.
Absolutely. I mean, it is that when you think of tier breaks in CS teams, right? That top 30 is a pretty big line of sort of not just competition, but also just recognition. I mean, your average Redditor or Twitterer or CS fan in general may not know teams outside of that top 30. And
Yeah,
that's a big line.
yeah.
Uh, do you feel like I guess the pressure in terms of recognition, in terms of, I mean, we talked about how this is good in terms of learning interviews and like getting more used to that side of things, the media, just the level of recognition that your team's going to get. Do you feel like that's going to be a source of pressure, or how are you thinking about it?
Pressure, maybe not for me personally. I don't get like that much pressure from people watching.
Mm-hmm.
uh but I think the recognition, just like I want to meet a fan or something. Like when we go to Austin, like I'm gonna be really excited to meet anybody who like looks up to me or just wants to meet me. Like that's what I want to be like, have a fan that I could meet.
Has that happened before? I mean, I know at some of these Fragadelphias you have guys who go through with the mouse pad and want to get signed, or at the championship lands.
Yeah, I only signed one mouse pad. It was like a guy who literally, I feel like he got like every single team that just went on stage like, yo, can you sign my mouse pad? I don't even think he knew my name.
I feel like it's
But
Cavern.
yeah, I think I think it was.
Pretty sure
But
it's Cavern.
that was like the only person that I ever did any like only sign. Like I don't even. Yeah, so I think having that and top 30, I guess, will help with that. So
Yeah, I'd say I'd put good
just being,
odds on you having
yeah,
a lot more mouse pads to sign in your future.
it's just like being more like professional
Hmm.
and not like just be more legitimate, I guess, as a player.
I don't know if you saw. I sort of, when I was doing research for this, was looking in the various rankings, and regionally, you guys are currently top 3 NA, which
I didn't see that.
yeah, Liquid isn't on the ranking for some reason. This may have just been a glitch. It was Cloud9, NRG, you guys, HLTV regional. I don't know.
I guess they don't count because they have Taco. So I guess
They got
we're
relegated to Brazil. Yeah.
Oh, they also have 2 Canadians. So well, I guess North America would count. I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure. I'm not sure how they're doing that. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is right now, for whatever reason, you guys are top 3 NA. So hang your hat on that one too.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's
Um, talking about the new opportunities that this kind of achievement brings, you guys got invited, direct invite to DreamHack Austin. We talked about this a little bit, but like, that's big.
Yeah, that's a feels good moment too.
How does that happen? Do they contact the org and then the org lets you know? Do they contact someone on the team? Who's sort of the
Okay.
point person of that?
They contacted Oso, our
Mhm.
coach. Yeah, they just contacted him, and he told us that was right after. It was when we're heading to an escape room. It was like I don't know if you know what escape room is,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
it was right. It was right when we 8, and then heading to escape room, Jared Oso was like, I think we just got an invite to Austin, and like we're just like freaking out about it right before the escape room.
That's pretty
And
awesome.
when we were in London, yeah, so it was cool.
Did you guys beat the escape room?
Yes,
That's the important
it was
question there.
we beat it with like 2 minutes to spare. We solved Evelyn's murder. Shout out.
Evelyn's murder solved. All right, I'm sure Evelyn's quite happy about that.
Oh.
You guys also made the close qualifier for Cologne, right?
Yes, that is coming up the next 2 days. I think.
How is that feeling? You hyped for that?
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna try our hardest out. That's what we've been practicing for. That in Austin. Uh, yeah, definitely super excited. It's not our first close qualifier. The last close qualifier we played in was the DreamHack Valencia,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to the final. We lost to LG, and we weren't like too heartbroken about that. Obviously, it sucks to lose like in that fashion. To lose in the finals, like you played all day and then you lose.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. I think like the way the schedule ended up, we wouldn't be able to play it even if we made it because it was the same date as the minor.
Mm-hmm.
So this one we're gonna try our hearts out and hopefully we go far.
I mean, Cologne is kind of a storied event
Yeah,
in Counter-Strike history.
it's huge.
I mean, you've seen those stadium photos. How would that would be pretty incredible now.
That's a dream. Yeah, that's a dream.
So that, I mean, this is kind of the steps you guys are making. You're hitting this level where Cologne is no longer a pipe dream. It's sort of like, man, you can do this.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that the mentality in the team? You know,
yeah,
there's no competition that's too hard. It's like this is where we expect to be now.
yeah. Like we definitely have the confidence
Hmm.
to take on anybody. I think so. In all these close qualifiers, we could definitely like see ourselves. It's not like there's no way or like it would be a huge upset. It's like we could do this if we just do these little things that we always like communication. We go together, good vibes, good atmosphere. We could do whatever. We have the talent. We know we do. So
Yeah.
yeah,
This has to. I mean, for E United, this signing you guys, picking you up at the exact moment they did, has to feel like winning the lottery.
yeah. I think they're probably a little happy about it.
Yeah. They whoever made the decision to sign you has the best sense of timing ever, because he caught you guys like right before the heater. I mean,
Yeah.
right as you guys were. I mean, it's like you hit a rocket and just right up. So that's. I mean, I'm sure the org is incredibly happy to do this, and we've talked a little bit about the support that they're bringing you, but hitting this level of competition, hitting this level of achievement, it lets you dedicate more time. You get more resources behind you. Does that help elevate your game beyond just the skill of the players, the time you have together, and does having
Yeah,
that backing change things?
the support definitely helps a lot. I think it allows people to like drop anything else that isn't CS and just
Hmm.
like fully focus on it, and that just helps like tremendously. Because a lot of this game is like dedication to the game, dedication to the craft, and like focusing on your own game. And then when it comes to practice, like just everybody's on the same page, everybody is doing what they're supposed to do and just do their role. That's all. If you're all on the same page, you're good.
Is
It
there a
just comes in.
different is there a different degree of professionalism in this team than what you've had previously?
Yeah, this team helped me like personally, just like grow. Not even just as a CS player, like as a human. Like
Hmm.
they helped me go through my problems. Like I had a lot of problems. I got cut from 2 teams, my past two like known teams, I guess, from like attitude problems, which like I never really wanted to face because like no one really wanted to help me through them. But like this team like helped me. They like held my hand through it, and like now I could like safely say that I improved like in a lot of different ways. And yeah, that only happened because of the United and all the my teammates and stuff.
Was that tough to confront? Tough to acknowledge?
Yeah, it's definitely it's hard to accept like any of your faults
Hmm.
as like a person because like attitude problem it isn't exactly like it's not like you suck in the game like your aim is shit or like you made like stupid decisions all the time and you just have like brain farts.
Hmm.
It's more of like you just have like a bad tone or whatever towards your teammates and it just kind of builds and builds and to like understand why and how to fix it it just like it just takes like a next level of understanding of yourself, I guess. You kind of have to like really look into yourself and yeah, it
And now,
helps.
from a team dynamic perspective, how is that sort of brought up to you, or like when someone needs to make changes, whether it be the attitude or whether it be something you're doing in game, is it sort of it builds over time and you get confronted, or people talk about it, or was it an understanding coming into the team that it was something you needed to work on, or how does
Well,
that sort of come about?
it was always on the top of my head. Like I
Hmm.
know, like when it happens twice to get cut, and like I always knew it was like a problem, but it was like it's hard to work on, right? If nobody like wants to acknowledge and not even just acknowledge it, but like no one really wants to help you work through it, it's really hard to work through it. It's kind of it's that kind of thing. So when everybody acknowledges it and it's like, okay, well, you're trying to help like solve it or work through it,
Hmm.
like we're gonna help you too. Like we're here for you, you know? And that helps a lot. It wasn't like we just blew up on each other and we just like fought back and forth. Like, oh, you have an attitude? No, I don't. It's not like that. It's like
Hmm.
it's gradual steps, I guess.
Okay. And so I mean, you've talked about how you feel like you've matured as a person and a player. Is that
Hmm.
all sort of this, getting a little older, maturing, taking in your past experiences and bringing that all sort of to a head with the help that you're getting from your team and your squad?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
So, talking a little bit more about the squad in general and about a little more abstract, you guys have settled. You've got a season now together. You're playing together. Obviously, this team is sticking together for a while. There's some serious chemistry here. How does that work in terms of settling roles in the squad? Did they change over the last season or so?
What from like when we formed to now?
Yeah. How does that shift work?
I don't think we really shifted roles in the fact maybe I've gotten a little more passive. When I first joined, I was more like hard entry frag or
Mm-hmm.
like more aggressive, and now I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like the site guy who just like plays like for time and for a team and stuff. And even on T side, like I'm more passive. Uh, that would be like one of the only changes. Skylar, Ace is obviously the opera. Caleb lurks, Moose lurks, and then Will kind of turned more into an entry fragger more recently. But other than that, not really.
How does leadership work in the squad? I mean, Skylar is doing the in-game calling, right, or the in-game
Mhm.
leadership. You've got Oso, who's a very respected coach at this point.
Yeah, she's a god.
How does it work in terms of like in the server, who's doing all of the calling? Where does the leadership come from?
Skylar is the main caller,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. I don't think we have. It's not like he's only is a dictatorship or something. It's definitely like a democracy. It's like Skylar, a lot of the way he calls, and it's not a bad thing at all. This is I think this is one of our major strengths over
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of at least a lot of MDL teams and probably like lower professional teams is the fact that we all give input on
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do and on T side at least and on CT side it's like we could call around like what someone wants to do as an individual. Like if someone wants to make a push somewhere, like we might call a whole round because he wants to do that push, and like we'll help him with that push instead of playing default or something. Like it's definitely not. It's a democracy, and we all just give input.
So so in that sense, it seems like it's almost a looser style, right?
Yeah, it's definitely loose.
It's less like we're going into this round, we're gonna do this, this, and this. It's more like this seems like the right moment to make this move.
It's mid round. It helps. It's all about communication. It's like we do audibles. Like we usually have like a kind of a set goal
Mm-hmm.
going into the rounds, but like we all understand as players like stuff can change depending on the round. If they have a weird setup or like they get map control on one, like you just gotta change it up. And I think calling on the fly like mid round is hard to do, and I think we're getting better and better at it, and just like helps us grow the more we play.
Is that something that, yeah, as the more you play, like the more time you have together, that chemistry, knowing what your teammate's going to do without even thinking about it, that enables
Hmm.
that style of play?
Yep. Yep.
And then sort of out of the squad a little bit more. Leadership, leadership presumably comes from the coaching role, but from who would you say is sort of the, like, I guess the leader of the team outside of the server?
I would still say Skylar, but
Okay.
Oso is definitely like he's definitely a big part. But I think as the main leadership towards the inside of the game,
Mm-hmm.
it's Skylar to like what we're gonna do as a like strat wise, and
Mm-hmm.
then Oso does a lot of work like on personal stuff or like in game like my attitude problem or something. Like he'll always deal with that stuff. He's more of like the father of the team, I guess, if you want to say it. But he
Team
also does a
dad.
lot of work. Yeah, but he also does a lot of work. Like that's not like he also does a lot of work to like counter strat
Mm-hmm.
or like work on certain setups. Like he does it all.
So like it's very much a sort of,
We all put in the work. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
think like it's kind of hard to choose one person.
that seems like the best situation.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So I remember when I talked to Dazzle back in Chicago, he talked about how you're all pretty vocal players in the server.
Hmm.
You all like to talk. Is that something that is a strength? Is that something that has sort of settled a little bit over time? Is it something that at times gets a little chaotic?
There's definitely there's pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it. I played with teams where people don't talk, and this is way better, as results could tell. But there's certain situations where you're just like shh, shh. Like I hear someone irritating or something like, you you guys gotta shut up.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like I really like it how vocal everybody is. Like we all speak our minds, communication. Like I feel like we all respect each other enough that's like it's always not a problem if someone speaks too much or you want to critique someone's play. Like okay, let's change this setup, let's do this. You know, it's really good that everybody talks and gives input.
So, focusing a little bit more on you as a player, in your ideal world, in Dapr's ideal world as a player in Counter Strike, how would you like to most purely describe your play style, your game style?
Uh, on T side,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I'm like the really annoying guy who like will use all his nades to take map control and like will kind of lurk and be aggressive. Uh, and then like when we're grouped up, like I'll try to be like try to make space for the team. And then on CT side, I would be like the guy who will smoke himself off in sight and try to play for rotations and just be like make it really hard for myself to die
Mm-hmm.
instead of like trying to get kills. Like on CT side, I'm more of like I try to shy away from like re-peeking and like trying to I make them earn my death, you know? Like I really make them earn my kill. It's gonna be hard to kill me, and I think like having that, you need at least one of those guys on your team,
Mm-hmm.
so like you could trust them to stay alone in a site and like they'll buy time for a rotate. That's how I'd explain it.
And is that an attitude that you had sort of coming into this team, and a style, or was that a transition that you willingly made
It's
to
both.
better suit?
It's both. I kind of like my playstyle,
Mm-hmm.
like personally. Like you gotta like your playstyle, obviously,
Yeah.
but then it's also I also fit into the team in the fact that a lot of the spots that require those kinds of players were the spots that like they need to be filled, like B site on Cash or something, like A site on Mirage, Ivy on Train, like all those spots where it's like kind of at the end of the map, and you just gotta be like annoying to the T's. Like I just filled those spots, and I guess it worked out.
Okay. So I have some more notes, but honestly, we've kind of touched on most of it. So let's like look forward. You're going into Pro League. How do you guys feel in Pro League? I mean, you had a bit of a test run in ECS almost,
Yeah.
but what's the confidence level? Where do you feel like you're going to wind up stacking up in this season of NA Pro League?
I think we obviously stack up against everybody, but I
Mm-hmm.
think as a team, our confidence level is like we could definitely like sneak into playoffs. Like we're a dark horse going to next season, 1000%. Like at worst, I think we're middle, like bottom, like above bottom tier, like right in the middle of the pack. And then at best, like we could definitely sneak off playoffs because there's 6 playoff spots for EPL.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's like Liquid, Cloud9, SK, and then NRG, and then there's 2 spots and like Renegades maybe like up there, and then there's like one Rogue spot with for like Rogue, Luminosity, or us, and that's kind of how we feel. And the other teams like we're really confident against.
Do you think you're going to
So
surprise a lot of people these next few months?
yeah, I think so. If we keep working hard and we don't get complacent, which I don't think we will, and we keep like our energy and all these communication, like if we just keep working on our problems and we never get complacent, yeah, we would definitely just keep growing at like a really high rate.
And so, okay, immediate future. You've got a lot of cool things coming up. You've got Cologne qualifier, close qualifier. You've got obviously the direct invite to Austin is incredible.
Hmm.
Pro League coming up. What is the one thing right now that you are most looking forward to, that you're most excited about?
Austin,
Austin.
Austin, because like it's gonna be my first international LAN that isn't MDL LAN. It's
Yeah.
gonna be like international teams at a higher caliber, I guess. So
It,
that'll be
is it the
fun.
first for all of the squad?
No, no, I think I'm the first one because they went to DreamHack. They went to another DreamHack. I don't remember. I think it was in Sweden,
Mm-hmm.
like
Oh
last year
right.
when
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Rise. And then Skylar obviously went to like a whole bunch of international lands. But this will be my first one. It's in Texas, and my dad actually lives in Texas, so I'm gonna visit him, or he's gonna come and visit me while we play. So that'll be fun.
He's gonna get to
Meet
see you play
fans.
on stage.
Yeah.
How does
So
that
I'm
feel
excited for that.
to be able to share that kind of a moment, to be able to share that kind of achievement with the family?
It's sick. It's really cool. It's cool that they support me enough to do that. Like he'll be driving 5 hours to come out, so it'll be cool.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
I'm excited.
I mean, obviously, you said you have a really supportive family, but at this point, they've got to be, right? I mean, this is
Yeah.
you're making the dream real.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly exciting. So, thank you so much for joining us today, for sitting down with me,
Thank you for having me.
coming on the show. I wish you the best of luck, you and the squad, the best of luck in Austin, in the close qualifiers, and everything that's coming up. You know I'm going to be following along. This team is just too exciting not to. Anyone who's watching right now who doesn't currently follow E United, if you love CS and you love North American CS in particular, this is the squad to watch, without a doubt. And this man in the camera box next to me, Dapr, is definitely the player to watch.
Thank you.
I mean, this is. I think I met you first. The first time I met you was at GexCon.
Yeah. The Washington one.
Last year, GexCon, where you guys declared a truce at the end of the event. Where you were playing with Steve, weren't you?
Yeah. Sasquatch and Cheeks.
That was funny. Yeah, and it wound up being the game went late, so we called a truce and split the pot and chopped the pot. Had a little interview with
That was
the
funny.
peace conference.
That was funny.
So it's been a year since then, almost a year, which
Dude, it seems like that was like
feels
5 years
so
ago.
long
Dude.
ago.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about, because when I was doing prep for this interview, I was thinking about the Torque GX thing, and it feels like that's ancient history, and that was like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I mean,
It feels the same for me, honestly. Time just flies.
time moves fast in the CS world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has been a great year, and it's looking like the next year is going to be even better for you. So, congratulations on all of your achievements, and we'll be following along here
Thank you.
without a doubt. So, thank you for everyone who tuned in tonight. Anyone who's watching this later on, this has again been another episode of Darf Talks, hosted and presented by Nerd Street Gamers. I am your host, Mike Winnick, and my guest tonight has been Michael Dapr Gulino. And at this point, I have only had people named Michael on this live version of the show. AGM was last week.
That's fun.
So we're going to keep the theme. I'll have to find more CS-related Michaels to keep the theme going. But again, thanks so much for joining us, and that's going to be it from us tonight, ladies and gentlemen.